Hi all, I'm going to go ahead and get started. We're waiting for Sue to hopefully join us in a moment, but I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Ellen Goody. I am the Community Engagement Manager at Mighty Cause, and I will be leading you through today's presentation. So I'm with Mighty Cause, which is a fundraising platform for this year's community challenge. Mighty Cause is an employee-owned business focused on the nonprofit customer. We help host giving events of all sizes like this, A Community Thrives. And today I'm excited to go over some of those tools that you can take advantage of during the community challenge. But before I do, we have a few housekeeping items. The webinar will be recorded and posted in the toolkit of A Community Thrives under the resources tab. So if you have any questions, you can reference that once again. And you can also use our Zoom Q&A to send any questions, and we will hopefully get to most of those during the webinar. Okay, so let's first take a look at today's agenda. We will be going over some basics. We're going to touch on getting started on the platform and all the prizes available. Then we'll move into a deep dive on the strategy and utilizing the tools that come with your Mighty Cause account. Lastly, we will have a Q&A session to make sure we answer any questions that come up after the presentation. If you have a question while I'm presenting, just type it into the Q&A box, and we will hopefully get to that at the end if it is not answered during the presentation. I will, if there's anything that kind of comes up several times, I will add that to the frequently asked questions on the page. So I'm sure it is something that everyone is having questions about. All right, A Community Thrives basics. So the 2022 A Community Thrives application will close on June 30th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then the fundraising will start on July 18th at 12 p.m. and end on August 12th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There are $200,000 in incentive grants. And then along with that will be the weekly challenges. There are $2 million in grants available for those nonprofits who make their fundraising goals. Grant recipients will be selected from both Tier 1 and Tier 2 organizations to qualify for the grants at the end of the challenge. Tier 1 organizations must raise a minimum of $3,000, and Tier 2 organizations, which are nonprofits with an operating budget of over $500,000, must raise $6,000 during the challenge. Grants will be announced in October, and your organizations will keep all the money raised online regardless of whether or not you made that minimum. So what does your nonprofit need to do? To participate in the A Community Thrives, you'll want to apply by completing the application, which will close in 2 days on June 30th. If you've started that, make sure you've probably received an email that you have a couple of days to finish that. So make sure you complete that before the end of the deadline. If you cannot complete in one setting, you are able to finish it and go back to it afterwards. Once you've applied, you can customize your profile on Mighty Cause and start planning for your campaign. Review the resources available in the challenge toolkit, as well as reading through the official rules. You can invite people involved with your organization to participate as peer-to-peer fundraisers. Once the challenge has started on July 18th, you can start promoting your campaign and asking for donations. You'll need to raise money in order to qualify for these amazing grants and bonuses. Navigate your dashboard. So once you've filled out and submitted your registration form and you have been approved, the next step you can take is to complete your page. There are a few basic items for A Community Thrive that we suggest you complete. You should add a background image to your page or use one from our gallery of stock background images. Upload your logo, which will represent you through A Community Thrives. Add a story, also called a description, that tells visitors about your nonprofit organization. Build a thank you page that donors will see once you once they've completed a donation. If you need help or you're unsure of how to complete any of these items, let us know at support@mightycause.com, or check our support library, and we have plenty of videos and other tools to help you walk through some of those steps. We also recommend taking some time to get to know your dashboard. Your dashboard is the admin section that appears on the left side of your screen when you're logged into your nonprofit's profile. When you log in, you'll automatically land on your overview section, which is where you'll find your to-do list as well as metrics for your nonprofit. Beneath the overview section is the organization page section, where you can customize your public-facing organization page by toggling on edit mode and include page metrics like adding a goal for your giving day to enable a progress bar on your page. Below that, within the fundraising section, you'll have the ability to manage fundraising pages and other efforts for your organization, as well as matching grants, which we are going to touch on a little bit later. Below that on your dashboard is the report section, where you'll be able to preview and export different donation reports. And the last important section within your dashboard is the checkout section. The section allows you to customize your organization's donation checkout flow, like your donation form and your thank you page. Lastly, you can manage your nonprofit setting like URL customization and admin controls from your settings section. So customize your profile page. Jumping into the overall profile for your A Community Thrives, your profile is the face of your nonprofit for the challenge. So you'll want to make sure it looks good and represents you well. Just so you know, your profile link is the link you'll share with your supporters to ask them to donate to the challenge page. So to share your page, just copy and paste that URL into an email or social post, or wherever you're advertising for this campaign. So as you're going through your to-do list, you'll want to customize your profile to match your brand. You can change your theme color to match your logo, upload media to your gallery to add the visual interest of your page, and your story or description is really the centerpiece of that entire page. In your story, you can put your mission statement, you can add photos and videos. Just as a note, though, you'll need to upload those videos to YouTube or Vimeo first, but then you can embed them onto your page. This spot is where you can go in depth about your work and make a strong appeal to donors, tell them why your organization needs their support, and show the impact of your work. So spend some time customizing this profile, because the more work you put into it, chances are the better you will do during the challenge. You can have the best campaign strategy in the world, but if your profile page, where the donors will actually see who you are, looks like you haven't put any love into it, you may be losing some donors. Next, we have our checkout flow. So you'll want to check this, customize this for your organization. This is located within your checkout section on the dashboard. The checkout flow is where your donors experience when they make their donation to your organization. The first part to customize are your checkout steps. This is probably one of the more important features to focus on when you're setting up your organization's profile page. The checkout flow section gives you a lot of control once the donation process for your organization on Mighty Cause. So this allows you to opt into collecting the information you want from donors, like addresses and phone numbers. You can also set up custom suggested donation amounts and add descriptions to help tie those amounts to items or services your nonprofit provides, and then strengthen your appeal to donate. The checkout steps within your checkout flow also allow you to preview the whole checkout process without making an actual test donation. So you can see what your final processes looks like, and then use that to edit yourself if needed. Donations and reporting. You can access your challenge donation report in the report section of your dashboard. Clicking on that section, you will have a submenu where you can choose from various reports available to you. Your donation report will be available to you in real time, include information like the donor's name, email, any designations or dedication options that you have, the gross amount and net amount of their donation, as well as fees associated with their donation. You also will know what page they donated to, as well as a lot of other information. The information you set up to collect during the checkout flow will also show in your donation report. So for example, if you turned on the option to collect phone numbers or addresses from those donors when you set up your checkout flow, those answers will show on that donation report. And once again, offline donations will not count towards your challenge goals or minimum. Disbursements. The disbursement section of your report allows you to see your batch disbursement history. You can click on a disbursement listing to open up more information about that disbursement, like which donations were included in that report, as well as a summary of the total amount, total associated fees, and net amount included in that disbursement. All donations on the site are processed by Mighty Cause Foundation, a donor advised fund. Your organization can sign up for electronic fund transfer, which is the recommended method since it allows fund disbursement twice monthly. But we can also send disbursements via check. Those get sent out once a month, but there is a $5 administrative fee associated with check disbursement. So we highly recommend EFT since it's free and you get your money faster. For people asking, you'll have, this will be on demand in the frequently asked or in the toolkit. So you can review this later. And I can also post the slides there as well. So top fundraiser grants. So the first grants are the top fundraiser grants. These will be rewarded to the top 3 organizations with the most dollars raised. Recipients will be selected from Tier 1 and Tier 2 organizations. This grant will span the length of the entire challenge from July 18th to August 12th. First prize is $25,000. Second prize is $15,000. Third prize is $10,000. Organizations must have a minimum of 10 unique donors, which to be eligible for these grants. Bonus Challenge 1. This bonus will be rewarded to 4 charities, 2 from Tier 1 and 2 from Tier 2, with the most unique donors on its official fundraising page, and will receive $5,000. This bonus will start on Monday, July 18th and end on Monday, July 25th at 11:59 a.m. Bonus Challenge 2. This is a $3,000 bonus that will be rewarded to 8 charities, 4 in each tier, for the most dollars raised on their official fundraising campaign page. This bonus will start on Monday, July 25th and end on August 2nd at noon. Next, we have Bonus Challenge 3. This bonus will be rewarded to 6 charities from Tier 1 and 3 from Tier 1 and 3 from Tier 2, with the most unique donors on its official fundraising page, and will receive $4,000. This bonus will start on Monday, August 2nd and end on Monday, August 9th at 11:59 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then Bonus Challenge 4 is a $4,000 bonus that will be rewarded to 8 charities, 4 in each tier, for the most dollars raised on their official fundraising campaign page. This bonus will start on Monday, August 8th at 12 p.m. and end on Monday, August 12th at 11:59 a.m. So most of these bonus prizes will have live leaderboards, so you will be able to see where you stand at any time. These will be on the A Community Thrives page. So you can keep tabs on your position on the leaderboard and keep your donors and supporters updated on where you are. Continually emphasize how much is at stake. how much could this extra prize money do for your charity? What would help you achieve that? And then also tie that back into your overall messaging on what you do and why you do it, and really get people excited about helping you win that money. And another trick is to just concentrate on sustaining momentum. It is a month long, so keeping that fundraising going and starting and finishing strong. Challenge rules. So you can review the official challenge rules on the A Community Thrives website, but there are a few things that I would like to highlight once again. Grant recipients will be selected from both Tier 1 and Tier 2 organizations to qualify for grants at the end of the challenge. Tier 1 organizations must raise a minimum of $3,000 to qualify, and Tier 2 organizations, which are nonprofits with an operating budget of over $500,000, must raise $6,000 during the challenge. I saw a few questions about what a unique donor is. So a unique donor is defined as a donor that has entered an email address distinct from any other donor who makes a donation to the same nonprofit. An individual that makes more than one donation to a nonprofit campaign will only count as one unique donor. Donors may check a box to make sure their information is anonymous from the public, but that will not affect the sole source donation determination. Any attempt to abuse or mask email addresses in order to increase donor count will result in disqualification from the challenge. Proxy donations are not allowed. Donations will not count if made with the nonprofit's credit card. This also includes, but is not limited to, receiving cash or check donations out of the recipient's funds, or having a recipient organization employee, board member, officer, or other individuals make the donation at the direction of the organization. So there are two grants for A Community Thrives, national project grants. 16 of these grants will be selected from applicants that successfully met their fundraising minimums by the Gannett Foundation, and then will receive local and national exposure from those from the Gannett Foundation. 3 $100,000 grants, 5 $50,000 grants, and 6 $25,000 grants. There's also the local operating grants. This will be 100 plus grants selected from applicants that successfully met their fundraising minimums by regional committees across the country. Minimum grants are $2,500. There is no maximum. They will also receive local exposure. Grant selection criteria available in the rules posted on the challenge website as well. Here are a few bonus challenge rules. An organization cannot win more than 2 bonus challenges. Top fundraiser grant recipients cannot win bonus challenge number 4. Any attempt to abuse mask email addresses to increase donation count will result in disqualification. Donations are reviewed and verified post-event for authenticity, and make sure you go ahead and review those official rules that are on the challenge website if you have any other additional questions. Bonus challenge strategy. So we recommend picking 1 or 2 bonuses to really commit to for those weeks, and plan to hit your audience hardest during that time. Track your progress in the leaderboards during the challenge. Here's a great example of what the leaderboards will look like. So you'll be able to see where you stand at all times. Go ahead and ask those major donors to time their donations accordingly to help with whatever bonus challenge you're really trying to push to get. Time your email, social media, and word of mouth outreach within your chosen challenge window, and tell those donors about the chance to earn bonus challenges, even if you don't think you might win for that week. Okay, let's talk some campaign strategy. So map out your campaign with some mini goals. So since A Community Thrives is a month-long event, The trick is to make the most out of your event, is to sustain your fundraising momentum. And one great way to do this is make sure your campaign is on track, is to set mini goals for your nonprofit to help generate buzz and build excitement. The great thing about A Community Thrives is the weekly bonus challenges that you can win. So you can utilize those to help sustain your fundraising momentum and get people excited about helping you win those prizes. We'll go over them in detail a little later on, but basically you'll want to think of your overall fundraising goal and what you'll need to raise each week or day to get there. Now, typically the first and last weeks are your strongest, so you may want to boost your middle weeks by utilizing a matching grant to shake up your campaign. Ask for seed donations. So something else you can do to get your campaign rolling is asking for seed donations. These are donations from people in your nonprofit's inner circle that essentially break the ice with donors, because no one likes to be the first donor. They help get the ball rolling, and they're called seed donations because they make the number of donations grow. People to ask for seed donations would be your board, staff, especially those who are director or C-level leaders at your organization, volunteers, or anyone else at your nonprofit who is highly engaged in your work. These don't have to be huge donations, but getting a little bit in the bank by tapping the people in your inner circle really does help your campaign move forward and get donations coming in. Matching grants are another great tool. A great strategy for driving donations on a giving day is securing a matching grant. A matching grant is essentially a large donation that your nonprofit leverages to bring in other smaller donations by offering it up as a match. So for instance, if you had someone willing to give you $1,000, instead of just putting that money in the bank and calling it a day, you could use it as a matching grant. So the terms of the grant are totally up to you and the grantor, but let's say their bonus prize, let's say that there's some bonus prizes available and you'd like to do whatever you can to drive donations during that week so you can win. You'd take that $1,000 and say to your followers, hey, between this day and this day, donations will be matched up to $1,000, which basically allows them to double their donation. You can do a lot within the Mighty Cause tool, like setting a cap for the donation. So let's say $200 is your cap. And if somebody makes a big donation, it won't eat up that entire match. So it's really cool and complex little tool that allows you to do a lot with your matching grant and on our platform, and keep it all on our platform. We've seen that matching grants, especially on a giving day, can be a powerful way to drive donations. So since a matching grant is ultimately a large donation, you'll want to follow the same process as you would when you secure a major gift. You prospect, cultivate, and ask. People you should consider as prospects for a matching grant are board members, first and foremost. Sometimes an individual board member will be happy to provide a matching grant, but one thing you can also consider is asking your board to work together to provide a match. If your board still has to pay its dues, for instance, you could utilize their dues by turning it into a matching grant. Major gift donors who have given large donations to your nonprofit in the past are also great prospects, and providing a matching grant can be a fun way to liven up their donations. So instead of just writing a check, they'll be helping your nonprofit grow and drive other donations. You can also give this donor some extra recognition when you're promoting that match. So major gift donors who like a little shout out or are even a better matching grant prospect. Corporate sponsors are also good prospects because it's a fun, proactive way for them to get involved in a public way and draw some attention to their philanthropy. At this stage in the game, you can start making phone calls, setting up emails, and starting to cultivate these prospects by letting them know what you're doing and seeing how warm they might be to the idea of getting involved. And then in the coming couple of weeks, you can make your ask and shore up the details of that match. You can have more than one match running at the same time on Mighty Cause, so you can get a lot of great responses and don't feel like you have to pick and choose one match. Promoting your matching grants. So at the end of the day, a matching grant is a great marketing tool. So in order to make the most of your matching grant, you'll need to promote it. So the first step is going to the matching grant tool on A Community Thrives and adding it there. There are some great marketing tools built into the platform for your matching grant, such as putting a sticker on your donate button when the grant is active, some changes to your checkout process to reflect the match, and the match gets listed on your nonprofit's profile. But you'll also want to add some information to your story, especially if it's a big match, and promote it on your social media channels, send out an email, and so on to let all of your followers know about that match. Countdowns add urgency, so counting down and sharing your progress can be a great way to get people excited and urge them to stop what they're doing and make a donation. Activate your ambassadors. So moving on from matching grants, I want to talk a little bit about ambassadors. Ambassadors are people who are usually in your nonprofit's inner circle who can help boost your campaign. So that includes board members, volunteers, especially ones who are highly engaged, staff members, and so on. Utilizing ambassadors can help you break out of your list of existing supporters and engage new people that you wouldn't otherwise have access to. An ambassador can help you in a few different ways. They can simply share a link to your page with their social circle to ask them to donate and help signal boost your campaign for A Community Thrives. If you have a board member, for instance, who is very well connected, this can be a huge boost, or you can help by getting involved in peer-to-peer fundraising. Team fundraising is peer-to-peer fundraising, where you basically deputize your supporters to fundraise on your behalf. So you would ask ambassadors to start a team page. This may sound like a big ask, but it's often a very fun way to engage your biggest supporters and allow them to tell their story about your nonprofit, how they came to work with you and why your work is important to them. This doesn't distract or draw attention away from your campaign because they're operating alongside your campaign and reaching out to people they know personally for donations. In most cases, their friends and colleagues and family are not people your nonprofit would normally have access to or who already solicit them for donations. So for people like your board, volunteers, staff, program alumni, this can be a great way for them to get involved without just being asked to give money. And it can make for more meaningful for them instead of just making a donation. You can actually be a part of the stewarding process of building and sustaining a relationship with that supporter. We've also seen some nonprofits get some great P2P action going in by just inviting people on social media or sending them an email to ask for their help. For younger people who have a big social network and are really comfortable online, but maybe don't have much cash to give, this can be an excellent way for them to help out and make for the meaningful contribution. You can also help make things easier for them. You can share some images, talking points, facts, and logos with these supporters, or create a template fundraiser that people can get set up more quickly and pre-fill some of the sections of their page. And you can also email team and event members through the platform to keep them motivated. Nonprofits that use P2P fundraising tend to raise more money during giving events. So it's definitely worth talking about how you can incorporate into your campaign strategy. The timeline is great for you to get started on this, and you can start asking people to join your team now so they can begin fundraising for starting July 18th. Email strategy. So your email list is going to be one of the most important tools during A Community Thrives because the emails are a direct line to your supporters. Unlike social media, you don't have to worry about an algorithm getting in your way of preventing people from seeing what you send them, because unless they've unsubscribed, it'll end up right in their inbox and probably send them a notification straight to their phone. So I want to talk a little bit about email strategy because that's going to be important for the challenge. In general, you'll want to keep your emails relatively short, simple, and skimmable. Most people read their emails on their phone these days, so you don't want to be sending them a novel. People are much more likely to read emails that pertain directly to them, so we highly recommend segmenting your email list by sorting donors into a few key specific groups. Donors who have given a lot or given on a regular basis, one-time donors, people who utilize your services but have never donated, one-time donors, your board, volunteers, and so on. You don't need to craft entirely new emails to each of these groups, but you can tweak small things about the emails for each group to make them more personal. So for instance, in an email to volunteers, you want to acknowledge how they already help your nonprofit, and you wouldn't want to send an email to a major donor asking for only $25. So identify your key segments and figure out how to tailor your message to them. When an email is tailored to the recipient and the relationship they have with your organization, they are much more likely to read and take action. How you segment depends on the program you're using, but most services like Constant Contact and MailChimp use tags to segment groups of people on your email list. One thing you'll want to pay close attention to is the timing of your emails, especially if you're aiming to win a bonus prize. I would recommend taking the time to schedule as much as you can beforehand and have a template email ready for things for you to send on the day of, like an email blast asking people to help hit your campaign goal, or an announcement that you won a prize. As I mentioned before, most people read their emails on their phones. So make sure that you choose a mobile-friendly email template and test it out beforehand. Try it on an iPhone and an Android and so on, just to make sure that it looks the way you want it to look. Leading up to the event, I would also recommend doing some A/B testing, especially with subject lines, because you'll want to make sure people are driven to open your emails for A Community Thrives. So try out different subject line formats, try things like adding emojis, and see what works better. And so when you are testing out those critical emails, you'll have an idea of what tends to work for your email list. A/B testing, if you're not too familiar with the term, is basically splitting up an email 50-50 and testing a variable. So let's say you're testing a button color or a subject line. Half your email list will get email A and one subject line, and half will get email B with another subject line. And whichever email gets the most opens wins. For the button color or placement, the email with the most clicks would win. You just want to be careful about testing too much or throwing too many variables in there, because that's really hard to say what email did best. Lastly, your CTAs should be clear and action-oriented, using words like give now, donate now, help us today. More passive CTAs like thanks for donating or please contribute aren't as effective, and you want to be crystal clear and urgent. For high stakes days like this, we really recommend staying in your comfort zone and going where your audience is. So for social media, what I mean by this is that if you have never logged into a TikTok before in your whole life, do not use TikTok for A Community Thrives. If you have 1,000 followers on your Facebook page, but only a handful on Instagram, then you should spend most of your time and effort promoting your campaign on Facebook. Just stay in your lane and put your efforts into the platform where you're most likely to reach people and have an impact. I definitely recommend scheduling any posts you can ahead of time, just to save yourself a lot of trouble during the challenge and leading up to it. Get your key content scheduled with Facebook's publishing tools or Creator Studio. Yes. To that, you'll want to also assign a point person to monitor social media so you can quickly respond to comments and interact with your followers, since that is important on social media, and interaction can also help you in terms of the algorithm. Since most platforms do show priority to posts with lots of engagement. We do recommend budgeting a little bit of money if you're able to boost some of those posts or promote some tweets. $20 for an ad can actually go a very long way. You'll want to make sure your ad is targeted properly. And if you aren't sure how to target an ad, you can always default to targeting the people who like your page or already follow you. In terms of the type of content that will do well on social media, it depends a little bit on the platform, but in general, photos and videos do very well. And you may want to consider doing something out of the box, like a Facebook Live video or a watch party for a campaign video to help generate some buzz while delivering algorithm-friendly content. And finally, when you're planning your campaign, follow-up is important to consider. When you're planning your content, you'll also want to plan your thank yous to donors. Things like making a video or a photo of your staff can be really great for this. You be sure to talk about the impact of your funds you raised and close the loop on your campaign. That means if you are fundraising for something specific, like a new piece of equipment or improvements to your building or something like that, you'll want to send emails periodically on that progress. You'll want to make sure you've got an onboarding plan to place for your new donors so they can come back to donate again. If you collect addresses, mailing them a welcome packet can be a great way to get them on board. And you can also create an automated email journey where they can get more information about what you do and why it's important to support your work. A few key reminders and key dates. Once again, registration will close on June 30th at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you have your app still in progress, please finish that in the next few days in order to qualify for these grants. But the challenge will begin on July 18th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and end on August 12th. I also wanted to bring attention to our nonprofit toolkit. That is where I will be putting this recording after I am finished today, as well as our getting started recordings are also found there. And has tips and tricks, frequently asked questions, walkthroughs. It also has templates you can use for emails and social media to help you get inspired and figured out how to promote your campaign. This is where, if you have any questions, this is a great resource for you. And lastly, I want to make sure you have our Mighty Cause support information. If you are having any questions while setting up your page, they are a great resource for more specific questions. If you're having any issues logging on, we are happy to resend login information, anything else you may have questions about. But if there is anything grant related, you should reach out to act@usatodaynetwork.com. But yes, anything platform related, please reach out to Mighty Cause. We are very, very happy to help. Okay, I am going to go through a few questions. Will all ACT participants automatically be considered for both project grants and operating grants? Yes, as long as you meet your minimum, you will be considered. You will be, for the budget, you will be submitting an agency budget to hit that, to figure out which tier you are in. If you are having any questions on the character limit when going through the application, I would reach out to support and they can answer that question. It is a little bit lower. I think most of them are about 500 to 1,000. So, but if it's a specific question and you're copying and pasting, reach out to support and they'd be happy to answer that for you. Yes, the presentation will be put in the toolkit. Let's see. I can also add the slides to the toolkit for you to review. So somebody asked about putting a video in their fundraising header. I do not believe you can put a video as the header. You can put an image. Where you can put the videos is in your story section, and it has instructions for embedding. But once again, if you're having any issues, please reach out to support at Mighty Cause and they'd be happy to help. So once they're asking if you need to create a fundraising campaign for ACT, or is your organization profile automatically linked to ACT? So once you have completed your registration, your organization page will be linked to ACT. So any money you raise directly on your organization page will be connected to A Community Thrives. Connecting your Instagram, I will reach out to support and see if there's anything specific going on. I do know that we're having some issues with Facebook earlier in the month, but those have been resolved. So if you're still having issues, I'm sure support would be happy to help to kind of troubleshoot what is happening there. So the weekly challenges, they're asking, I do believe, kind of the timing of it. So each weekly challenge, you kind of start anew for your fundraising. So the unique donors will be the unique donors you get within that week. The total number raised is the total number raised within that week of that challenge. And then for the top fundraising grants, those will go from the 18th to August 12th as, and will be cumulative. Donations from board members can count towards the crowdfunding goal. It was specifically for proxy donations. So if somebody donated by check and then a board member used their credit card to fund that check, that would not be allowed. But board members are your greatest allies. So they are more than welcome to donate, to create matches, to create team pages, anything they would like to do to help. It is not a conflict of interest to ask spouses of staff to contribute. Whoever are your donors are your donors, and most people's spouses and staff are their greatest people, so they are more than welcome to donate. You will hear back about the application approval definitely before the deadline. It usually takes us 1 to 2 days, but I'm kind of on a daily approval process. So you will definitely hear before the 30th, but if you have received an email that you have not completed your application, make sure that you have you go back and complete that before the 30th. But if you've completed it and haven't had that approval yet, it will definitely be in your mailbox in the next couple of days. And yes, once again, I will be happy to upload the slides. Yes, if you have any other questions, I think I got through most everything. Once again, if you have any specific grant questions, reach out to ACT@USA Today. And then if you have any issues when creating your pages or anything like that, or with your grants, your matching grants or anything like that, reach out to support@mightycause.com. But we are so excited for all of you to participate in this year's A Community Thrives. And yeah, thank you all for coming, and we will be in touch.